Mazda has been named Consumer Reports' safest new car brand. It starts with our approach. Every Mazda comes standard with proactive safety features, so you're more aware of what's around you, more focused on the road ahead, and ready before problems ever start. Mazda, more of what matters most to you. Go to MazdaUSA.com to learn more. Consumer Reports does not endorse or promote any product.
This episode is brought to you by Saily. So what's the plan for this summer? Thinking about traveling overseas, maybe visiting a couple of different countries? Well, that certainly sounds like a fun adventure. But what do you do if, while you're on this trip, you suddenly find yourself in need of an internet connection and you can't find a Wi-Fi spot? That's why, before you head overseas, you really need to do the smart thing, which is to sign up for an eSIM plan with Saily, which is this new eSIM service app brought to you by the creators of NordVPN. With an eSIM from Saily, you can then have an internet connection wherever you travel to. Better yet, you'll save money on roaming fees. And the process couldn't be simpler. Just purchase the eSIM plan you prefer at the Saily website. They've got global and regional options. And then follow the instructions on the app and install the eSIM on your phone. After that, the Saily eSIM will activate instantly after you land at your destination. Me personally, what I love about Saily is you only have to install it once, which means no wasting time at the airport, standing in line as you wait to buy a local SIM card. With Saily, you can choose from several affordable eSIM data plans in over 200 destinations. Better yet, you can travel using the very same eSIM plan, no having to install a new SIM card with every country you visit. With the Saily eSIM, you'll always have a connection when you need it, so sign up today. And as a Disney Dish listener, you'll get an exclusive 15% discount with Saily eSIM data plans. Just download the Saily app and then use code DisneyDish at checkout. Again, Disney Dish listeners get an exclusive 15% discount with their first purchase. To learn more, go to Saily.com. Again, that's Saily, SAILY.com. Affordable eSIM data for international travel. We thank them for sponsoring today's show.
Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of Schmurz Day, August 10th, 2026. On the show today, news, listener questions, and surveys. Then in our main segment, Jim gives us the history of Disney's family suites. Let's get started by bringing in the man who says there are two kinds of people, and you should avoid both. It's Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
It's going well, and it's not that I'm antisocial. I mean, I literally live out in the woods on a dirt road in a log home.
Yeah, you are Mr. Sociability.
Well, not to spell it out to folks, but occasionally I get packages for Ted Kaczynski. I'm just saying.
All right, can you forward this to him?
There we go.
Exactly.
And by the way, Len, if you're talking about a box you want to handle gingerly, that's the one.
Exactly.
But conversely, though, several times a year, this loner feels the need to climb in the car and drive down to New York City or Orlando or fly out to L.A. and Las Vegas because, again, you can only spend so much time alone with three pussycats before you start to lose your mind.
And that amount of time was 10 years ago for you.
There we go. There we go.
It goes a long way towards explaining a lot of things.
There we go. And speaking of 10, these things weigh, what, 10 pounds, 12 pounds each? So I don't understand how they generate a metric ton of cat poop per week, not to mention tumbleweed-sized clumps of cat hair. So this is why occasionally I have to go to the big city, lose myself in a crowd with the hope that I can then give these rotten felines a slip. But gotta say something, Len, they're tricky. I caught one of them last week slipping an AirTag into my wallet. So...
They are subtle, aren't they?
And speaking of which, here's Moose now. Go lie down. No purring.
Moose.
God
Hello,
help
Moose.
me.
All right. Okay. Here we go. All right, Jim. In terms of thanking things, let's also do a quick shout out to our subscribers. Thanks to everyone who subscribes over at patreon.com/JimHillMedia, including Kathy Hines, P. Hutch, Beth Coy, Nick Driz, Martin Schmidt, and the Black Bear of Riverside. Huh. I thought that was my stage name when I do burlesque. Okay, anyway. Jim, this is the architecture team adding themed room numbers to Walt Disney World hotels. Isn't it more authentic to use binary numbers for Pop Century's 90s computer section? Imagine the guest delight when room 8153 becomes room 111, 111, 101, 1001. And over at Art of Animation, guests will learn about how color affects mood by switching from room numbers to Pantone paint swatches. So the front desk can say, your room is Cloud Dancer, so go to the Pearl Glow hallway in Building Baby Powder, and it's right there. True story. Imagine instead of a room key, they just give you a swatch, and they're like, yeah, here's your room.
Don't give them this idea. All right. I will end up in the cream shell wing of the hotel. And it's like, oh, no, then I'm sorry. That's off-white, Mr. Hill.
You absolute rube, you moron, you fool.
Oh, God. Wow. Okay. Don't give them that idea.
On to the news. Folks, the Disney Dish News is sponsored by BeOurGuestVacations.com from our friends at DVCRentalStore.com. It's officially Halloween, and look, you've spent enough years handing out candy to other people. It's time for other people to hand candy to you. And that happens at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And the folks at BeOurGuestVacations.com are ready to help you plan that trip now. So visit BeOurGuestVacations.com now and get your costumes later. All right, Jim, on to the news. I think the big news this week is the earnings call that Walt Disney World had, and this was on Wednesday, last Wednesday. And this earnings call covered the quarter, so it's Disney's third quarter of the fiscal year 2026, April to June 2026. Jim, I think the big thing, the surprise for all of us, was Disney saying that domestic theme park attendance was up 3% because Comcast reported a couple weeks ago that attendance was down at Universal Orlando. What did you make of this?
Well, there's a part of me that, and again, it's domestic, and it's one of these things where it's like, how popular, in fact, is Bluey? Is that
right?
I mean, again, remember, he's on both coasts, or excuse me, she, and, just wondering, because beyond that, what else has come online at the stateside Disney Park?
Had this conversation with Laurel yesterday in the lazy river at Typhoon Lagoon. And here's what I think. I don't think it was Bluey. I don't think it was the new Buzz Lightyear. Okay. I think it was Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster. I think there are a lot of people who came into town, especially for that ride on Memorial Day.
Wow. Okay. And I know, again, touring plan sides of things. You guys are keeping tabs on wait times and that sort of thing. Has that held over the summer? Is that still as popular?
It has. It's still very, very popular. The interesting thing with wait times is Disney and Universal are doing so much behind-the-scenes industrial engineering to reduce wait times, standby wait times in particular, that it's getting increasingly difficult to compare year-over-year posted wait times without taking those things into account.
Okay.
So we said, for example, that remember when Disney changed the DAS rules in mid-2024? We've said on the show before, there's a before and after date of basically July 1st, 2024, where even if crowds were the same, the standby wait times are completely different because of DAS. Similarly, Disney did something in early 2025 that changed the ratio of guests that are pulled at the merge point between standby and Lightning Lane guests to favor standby guests, thus reducing the standby waits. And they're continuing to do those sorts of things on an ongoing basis, both at Disney and at Universal, for Universal Express Pass. And so it's really difficult without taking those things into account to just say, well, wait times are 20% lower now than they were in 2022. Because sure they are, but there's no way that attendance has dropped 20%. Right. It's this behind the scenes industrial engineering, making the standby wait times lower and the posted wait times more accurate that are really, I think, driving those things.
Wow, that's fascinating. But again, compared to years previous, is domestic parks being up 3%, is that really significant, or?
Yeah, that's very solid, and for two reasons. One, in the context of Universal showing a drop in attendance starting in June, and Disney saying that June was included in their quarter. It's very significant. The other thing though is gas prices peaked in June. So they were going up in April, May, and June. Not only gas prices, but fuel prices in general. I mean, God knows what we're all paying for airfare these days, right? And that did not seem to affect domestic theme park attendance. So the deals that Disney put out, the marketing that they put out, are substantially better. They got substantially better results than what happened down the street at Universal. You got to give them credit. I thought for sure the best we could hope for was plus 1%. And I don't know if I was quoted in the LA Times, but I told the LA Times like plus 2 would be a minor miracle. And here they are at plus 3.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, really impressive stuff out of Disney theme parks.
Okay, and just one final note in regard, to what Comcast reported. I mean, it is worth noting that last year was the debut year of Epic Universe, which would be an artificial attendance booster. I mean, people would have postponed their trips to the Universal Orlando Resort before that park opened, and likewise, right now it's like, well, what new is opened at Universal? And in fact, we're waiting on their version of Hollywood Drift to complete construction, right?
Right, and they're caught in sort of the same cycle of having their pipeline run dry between now and then, right? That Disney has faced sort of on and off, but Disney's able to do refurbs and pull in things like Muppets into Rock and Roller Coaster, and then their marketing machine takes over. Okay, and that's different. The other big difference, I think, between Disney and Universal, and I don't know if we've probably talked about this because we've done 500 shows together, but Disney has a built-in floor of attendance that is higher than Universal's, and that's because of DVC.
Yeah.
And there's no comparable thing that Universal has, right? So imagine every quarter, attendance is a bucket that Universal has to fill up from empty. But Disney has to fill up from like 25% already full.
That is worth noting. I mean, the only downside of that is that, and we've talked about this on the show, is there are Disney fans with a sense of false entitlement, and then there are DVC members who literally, they have real entitlement.
Exactly, yeah.
You got to keep them happy. You got to keep, whether it's building the new resorts. In fact, I know we'll be talking.
We're going to talk about it in 2 seconds.
There we go.
But before we get to Lakeshore Lodge, Jim, I do want to note that we have a new pre-show over at Zootopia Better Zoogether in Animal Kingdom. And this is Mayor Brian Windancer introducing the plot in the lobby.
Yes.
What do you think of this?
What's intriguing about it is that, remember, this opened in November of last year, before Zootopia 2 opened. And Disney has done some survey work post-opening, and what they've discovered is that especially international travelers were having trouble following the plot.
Right. Okay.
So it's like, okay, let's put this beat in at the beginning. And also significant, Judy Hopps, they have redone some of her lines toward the end of the show. So you better understand that, we arrested Mayor Bellwether because she got out and she was the one causing the problem.
Okay. That whole plot thing was lost on me. I mean, I understood the arresting thing, but I didn't know who that was. So
and that was the problem. So did much of the audience. I mean, there's enough stuff going on that's like, well, I'm having a good time. I have no clue what's going on, but I'm having a good time. So
that's exactly what it was. It was like me when I go dancing. Am I doing it right? No. Am I having a good time? Absolutely. Right.
There we go.
Fair enough. All right, Jim, and we mentioned DVC. Disney also released on its earnings call some new concept art for Lakeshore Lodge. We have the concept art in the show notes. Jim, let's start up with the lobby, which is, what is that, a 3 or 4 story glass wall?
Yeah.
Man, if I was a plant, this is the terrarium I would want to live in.
Yeah. It's now, remember, when we initially saw the art of the exterior for this thing, I think there were certain folks who felt it was a touch generic, but now that we're on the inside, what's fascinating to look at this and think about what Disney did with Wilderness Lodge, and it's like, that is a celebration of national parks, where this is modern take on enjoying nature? Yes, no?
Yeah, I think so. I think had this technology existed 150 years ago, we would have seen this in Yellowstone or something similar. Yeah.
Okay.
And my feelings about this have really changed since the Poly Island Tower opened, because from the outside, the Poly Island Tower is fine. And I know it got the same sort of label as being a generic sort of hotel shell. And we heard the same thing at the Riviera too, which is, a large tower hotel with some basic ornamentation on the exterior to make it look fancy. The thing is, once you're in those rooms, it's a level up from the exterior. Like, I think the Riviera rooms are fantastic, and I like being at the Riviera. I think the restaurants are great. I like the ambiance and the atmosphere. The lobby's a little small, but overall it works. And the same thing at the Poly Island Tower. Those rooms are great, especially the ones that overlook Seven Seas Lagoon. And I think we're going to get the same thing here. Let's hold off on judging the resort until we're actually inside of it. But everything I've seen so far at Lakeshore Lodge, it looks fantastic. We also got concept art for Moonglade, the table service restaurant. And again, floor to ceiling windows everywhere. I think that's going to be the calling card of this resort. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I have to admit, the beauty shot from the outside, on Bay Lake looking in, it's like, all right, I want to dine there. Now, mind you, I'm not going to be able to get that table because it's 50 feet offshore, but I still want to dine there. That looks great.
Exactly. All right, let's pick up again. And Jim, Bay Lake Provisions is the quick service restaurant. Terrazzo floors. I love a terrazzo floor.
There we go.
I will say that in that particular piece of concept art, the actual area of Bay Lake Provisions is the most generic thing that we've seen. But Jim, I want to call your attention in the distance there. Look at that. Is that a cantilevered stairway?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That looks a touch rickety, Len.
I believe the last time we saw this was in the Mel Brooks film High Anxiety.
There we go. There we go.
Fantastic.
Okay.
And then we've also got Bay Lake Point Bar and Grill, which looks like a standard bar and grill. It's outside. That's nice. Or sorry, inside. That's nice. And then Dandelion Terrace, which I guess is the viewing area for fireworks. Jim, I think when we're done recording the show, we should get in line for that now for 2027. What do you think? There's already a line, isn't there?
Sadly, yes.
I want to mention one other thing, Jim, that was mentioned in the earnings call, and that was the name of a water feature in the pool area of Lakeshore Lodge, and they're calling it Lakeshore Lagoon. Let me point out,
okay,
to the marketing team that a lake and a lagoon are two different bodies of water. It's like saying the Pacific Ocean River. They don't go together, guys. And I know there's alliteration there, and I know it sounds good, but words have meaning. Please.
There we go.
Okay. All right, Jim, last little bit of news out of Walt Disney World. We have a date for Walt Disney World's Hallmark movie, Holiday Ever After, and that premieres on Saturday, November 28th, 2026. Jim, I'm just going to point out, I will be on vacation with Drew Taylor, your co-host, on that. Do we have the technology to do a live watch party?
We'll have to look into this. By the way, interesting side story. Earlier this week, Nancy and I actually drove down to New York City to the 92nd Street Y, where they had a 25th birthday celebration for the Hallmark Channel. And among the things they hyped at this event, Lacey Chabert was there on stage talking about this Disney World movie, which, by the way, I was going to watch anyway because Richard Kind is in it, and I will watch Richard Kind in anything.
Sure.
But yeah, they showed clips from it, and Len, what you'll find fascinating is that giant plexiglass parade float that Disney used to roll through the Magic Kingdom. It was always the one that the princesses would be on.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been retired for years, but again, the folks from Hallmark came to town and Disney said, "What do you want?" And it's like, well, we need a big dramatic parade float at one point because we're shooting in the Magic Kingdom. And like, absolutely, we know precisely what the hull, and they literally hauled it out, and it's there, big as life, in the background as Lacey and her boyfriend, who she fought with earlier in the show, are making up. And it's
were you looking out at the audience saying, "Does anyone else see what I see?"
Well, Nancy was there for her Hallmark hunks. I was there for the Disney information.
Exactly. I think it's going to be a hoot. All right, so we should see if we can do a live watch party of this.
There we go. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jim. Over in Disneyland, World of Color switched back from the theme of happy to one yesterday, and I mentioned this because our friends at Mouse Planet are hearing rumors that the Main Street Electrical Parade may return in let's go back to the way things were in 2027. Jim, what do you, I know. How, please let it die. Please. I love the parade. Don't get me wrong. It's a classic. And I have there's a place in my heart for it. But for the love of God.
But again, how many Dracula movies did they stake through his heart, salted the earth, they cut off his head? He still came back. It's like, this is, how many times has this blown away already?
I think they should change the mascot for this thing to be Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, because he also cannot be killed.
I love that. And light him up and have him walk the parade route.
Do you think the Main Street Electrical Parade coming back every 5 years is how they ended up with the somehow Palpatine returned line from Star Wars?
No, I absolutely insist.
I have questions. Jim.
Well, more to the point, I absolutely insist that be the first line of the press release when this
somehow Main Street Electrical Parade returned.
There we go. Exactly. All right, that has to be the first line of the press release announcing this. Okay.
Beautiful. All right, Jim. Last little bit of news over at Universal. We've got 2 more Halloween Horror Nights house announcements. One is Ozzy Osbourne, Prince of Darkness, and it features music from Ozzy's solo albums from Blizzard of Oz 1980 through Ordinary Man in 2020. To me, this is worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah. Though, again, we were just talking about Jason Voorhees, so Ozzy's right up there as well.
That might be okay. I can see them doing this. And I think I've said this before. Crazy Train is like one of my top 3 songs of all time.
There we go.
I'm there for that. Also, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Well, and the interesting thing, I was actually at the Halloween Horror Night. I want to say it's 2018 when they first brought them into the park. And Universal did such an amazing job of replicating the look and the feel and just the overall tone of this 1988 film that, I mean, I just stood there and marveled and also watched people freak out in a big way because these clowns are disturbing in the film, but they're really disturbing up close and in your face.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think the scare zones also look really, really good. So I got to find some time in September, October to come down and do it.
There we go.
All right, Jim, on to surveys. I got a survey from Disney's Hollywood Studios last week with this one question, and I want to get your take on it. The question was this: what are the primary reasons you chose to visit Hollywood Studios? Please rank your top 3 reasons by clicking on the most important reason first, the next most important reason second, then the third most important reason. And the reasons that they gave are this: to experience the characters in general, to experience the rides, attractions, and shows in general, to eat. My friends and family wanted to visit. It's a weather-friendly park.
What?
I know. To experience a limited time/seasonal event, to experience limited crowds. Do you want to say what here too? To see a favorite character, to experience the seasonal decor in the park, to experience a specific attraction or show, to shop, and to celebrate a special occasion. So what do they do? First of all, what do they do with this information?
First of all, like, why anybody would ever think of Disney's Hollywood Studios as a weather-friendly park. Wow.
You would think Epcot.
Yeah. Back when they had two Communicore, because, you had places to run in the rain. But, wow. See the seasonal decor. Okay.
But again, this was like late July.
Yeah. What seasonal decor?
Seasonal decor, right. There was none, yeah. To experience limited crowds, I mean, maybe. To see a favorite character franchise, I can see that. To experience the seasonal decor? To experience a specific attraction or show, I can see that. To shop, I can see that. To celebrate special occasions, sure. I wonder if this is marketing. Like if we said to eat, which, to be fair, because I live in Celebration, at some points during my tenure here in Celebration, the Mexico Pavilion was the closest Mexican restaurant to my house. I can kind of see that, but I gotta believe this is marketing.
Well, and remember, marketing Disney's Hollywood studio right now is kind of tricky. Again, as you mentioned, the Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets opened this past summer. But on the other hand, we're still a year plus out from Monstropolis coming online. So, for the next 18 months or thereabouts, it's like, what's moving the needle? What's getting people into this park? And
that makes more sense. Yeah, so this is like what can we do for the remainder of 2026 and into early 2027?
Just looking for ways to refine their marketing message, until Monstropolis comes online, and then it's like, hey, go ride the door coaster. This is amazing.
I didn't think to check the box that said to eat, but if I did, I wonder if they would have followed up with questions about where specifically I ate. And the reason why I mentioned that is I was answering emails earlier this week, and somebody was asking for a bar or lounge suggestion in Hollywood Studios, and they specifically mentioned Oga's. And Oga's is fine. But two things I pointed out. One is that the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge is now being refurbished, and now, Jim, it's over in the area that used to be Starring Rolls.
Is that?
And I really like that little area.
Yeah.
I think it's very pleasant, so I recommended that. But the other one, I went back and looked at Touring Plan's survey results, and the thing that we always forget, but is always highly rated, is the Tune-In Lounge at 50's Primetime Cafe.
There we go.
And that's what I recommended. So that's what I'm thinking. If I said to eat, would I have started seeing advertisements, specifically for me, for things like Tune-In Lounge and things like that?
That is an intriguing
there
question.
We go.
Okay.
All right. Fantastic. And then our friend Robert sent in a survey from Disneyland, Jim. Just want to get your quick take on this. And the question was this: how big a fan are you of Avatar?
Oh dear.
And Robert, you answered 2. And kids, this is what we call foreshadowing.
Yeah. Oh dear. I know that Josh tomorrow is not looking forward to this conversation with Mr. Cameron, but
in the earnings call, they said it's still moving forward.
Yes,
They said they still have plans for it.
There we go.
I pointed out that I also still have plans for winning the Powerball.
Yes, you do.
All right. Last survey comes from Kevin, and this is a survey from Hershey Park. And it's a really solid survey. It asks the right questions about different aspects of Kevin's visit, from arrivals to waits in line, things like value for money. I got a kick out of Kevin's answer to this one specific question, though, because if this answer ever makes it to an executive pitch deck for Hershey Park, I want to be in the room to see the look on everyone's faces. Here's the question.
Okay.
Were there any dining options or menu items you wanted but could not find at Hershey Park? And Kevin's answer was, I only found chocolate-themed items at the chocolatier. Hershey Park.
Yeah.
Love of my life, Hershey Park, whose products I have consumed since childhood.
Wow.
It cannot be that difficult to find chocolate in a park named Hershey Park. Could you imagine the conversation when an executive sees that?
Oh my God. I love that.
Beautiful. God, Kevin, if you get a follow-up on this, please let me know.
Absolutely.
All right. On to listener questions. And this is from Jonna. And again, kids, this is what we call in the business foreshadowing. Jonna writes, GLP-1s have been disrupting consumer behavior, and it's an extremely hot topic. It's tied into all of the consumer behavior panels that she's seen. She's seeing upwards of 28% of U.S. households have at least one member in the household on a GLP-1, which is a huge increase from just a year ago. Right. Okay. For weight loss, the demographics of GLP-1s remind Jonna of what we described on the show as Disney's core market, affluent suburban Gen X boomers, whereas GLP-1 use for diabetes management skews older, lower income, urban, and African American, right? So the interesting thing is that the number of food service visits, so restaurant visits for GLP-1 users, is down 1% year over year, while everyone else is sort of even. Jonna says the big change that we're talking about in food service is portion size. Just as you and I theorized, she says, restaurants of all types and sizes are ensuring they have smaller options, more protein, and to a lesser degree, fiber benefits. Smaller portion menus are also appealing in light of the economy and affordability. So it's a win-win-win. And the thing I want to point out here, Jim, is smaller portions and lower prices are great, but those two things don't work for Disney, because Disney is a publicly traded company and needs to show increasing revenue on things like that.
Yeah, that's a hard needle to thread there. I mean, how exactly do you play up that availability, but also keep your high price point?
Right. And so this is sort of right. Applebee's obviously can tout affordability and smaller portion sizes and things like that. All right. And Applebee's also a publicly traded company. The issue, though, is Disney is frequently using both fixed price menus and the same menus for lunch and dinner. And they do that to increase per cap revenue, right? When you're doing fixed price menus, and let's just use Be Our Guest as an example, at $80 or $85 per person for lunch, it's hard to reduce portion sizes and keep those margins, because eventually when you're getting smaller and smaller cuts of beef or whatever, and the price goes from 80 to 85 to 90, you have to start thinking, what am I getting for this?
Here we go.
And it's different than Applebee's, where you can just be like, oh my God, I'm super tired of cooking. Let's just go get, 3 quick appetizers or whatever. When you're in a park and you have to ask yourself, should I spend my money on this or on Lightning Lane?
Yeah.
That's different.
For some odd reason, this reminds me of the Woody Allen joke from Annie Hall, the two old women, the food here is so terrible. Yes, in such small portions.
Small portions.
There we go.
I love it. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. We have another listener email from Doug who says, the past several weeks you've discussed how dining reservations are down all around property. Do you think this could lead Disney to bringing back the tables in Wonderland?
Oh.
God, I was a member for 1 year before the program ended, and it was great. A 20% discount off the entire bill, including adult beverages, and free valet parking at hotels in Disney Springs. This is a great way to encourage locals and pass holders to dine more at Disney. Yeah, why haven't they brought this back?
I don't, but it's interesting, as Doug comments here, encourage locals and pass holders to come back. And for me, I can't help but link this idea with the story we did on a recent Disney dish about, for example, the gingerbread house going away at the Grand Flow. The notion of the very thing that would bring in locals and pass holders has fallen off the table. I just wonder if locals are still a priority at Disney these days.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. So if, let's say they bring back tables in Wonderland and locals and APs start to use resort restaurants more, that would put them in competition with resort guests who might be looking for like a last minute reservation.
There we go.
At the resort they paid for. Let's face it. Okay. So again, the reason why it's not coming back could be because Disney's valuing guest satisfaction at the resorts higher than restaurant revenue. That's a really interesting trade-off. I'd love to see the internal numbers on that. Fair.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Last email is from Todd, who has some ideas for new Disney Springs shops. And I like all of these. We'll go through them. One is a Disney golf and lifestyle shop. And Todd says, it wouldn't have to focus exclusively on golf, but it could sell quality polos, pullovers, hats, and other clothing with subtle Disney touches rather than the giant character graphics. I've gone out of my way to shop at the golf courses on property because I can't find much I'd actually wear in the regular Disney stores. So that's interesting.
Okay.
And didn't we kind of see this with the YSND clothing line?
They are, again, in fact, they've made a point with this new Imagineering-inspired lifestyle brand with the notion of it's Disney if you're paying attention.
Right.
See, it's not a goofy on your back that they can see from space.
Right. And Todd's other idea is run Disney merchandise at the shoe store. He says, Run Disney's hugely popular. I'd absolutely buy branded running shirts and other gear. It wouldn't have to be tied to a specific race weekend, although they could certainly sell race-specific merch too. There are so many fun possibilities for running apparel, whether someone wants performance gear or something a little more playful for races back home. And his third idea is a bookstore for Disney fans. And I love all of these ideas, but specifically the Run Disney merch idea has legs, I think.
There we go.
And here's my idea, right? So imagine you're wearing a Run Disney shirt that you got, not tied to a specific race or whatever, but you're doing it at either your local running event or you're out for a run with your local running club. That's basically free advertising for Disney races, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, and this has been a complaint for years in regard to the Run Disney events, that folks who want that, who want the shirt to take home to wear, to show off to friends and family, they will show up at the event. And it's just the notion there are folks who buy access to the Run Disney events strictly to get into the retail space and buy up multiples of the shirts and then list them on eBay and things like that. And and the thing is that Disney is in this of two minds, to the effect of, we get consistent complaint from event attendees that merchandise is sold out. But on the other hand, the merchandise is sold out.
Exactly, yeah.
Do we want to fix this or say that we're trying to fix this and keep this
there's
going?
probably higher priority things for them to pay attention to. I get it. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Jim starts the history of Disney's Family Suite hotel rooms. We'll be right back.
Today's episode is brought to you by Wayfair. So we're now just a month out from Labor Day 2026. That holiday gets celebrated here in the States on September 7th, which means it won't be too long now before we're all driven back indoors by those cooler temperatures, which is when we're going to want the interiors of our houses or apartments or condos to become comfy, cozy places. And, well, this is where Wayfair comes in. With 5,000 brands of furniture, lighting, cookware, and more, Wayfair has everything you need to make your house feel more like a home, and all at amazing prices. Whatever project you're looking to tackle this fall, Wayfair has products that can help. If, for example, you're looking to refresh your bedroom, Wayfair has high-quality beds, mattresses, and bed frames in all styles and budgets. And speaking of bedrooms, Nancy's been looking to clear up some of the clutter in our bedroom, which is why she's been eyeballing that wide array of walk-in closet systems which Wayfair offers. And what's really great about this is Nancy can actually see what other Wayfair customers have previously said about these closet organization and storage systems, thanks to the more than 20 million 5-star reviews from real shoppers that Wayfair has made available for viewing. So you can shop with confidence at Wayfair.com. Better yet, you can join Wayfair Rewards to get 5% back on every purchase and start saving on your next home upgrade. Head to Wayfair.com to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
We thank them for sponsoring this podcast.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Priceline Negotiator.
It's me, the
Priceline Negotiator.
We don't need the jingle twice.
What about a third time?
Stop it. This is about vacation inflation and how Priceline negotiates amazing deals on hotels, flights, and rental cars.
Seems like you decided.
Yeah, but I didn't mention that you can save up to 60% off hotels in the Priceline app.
Time to read the tagline.
Fine. No one deals more deals than...
Priceline.
Please stop.
Priceline.
Touche.
Priceline.
Priceline.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
Why did I search the internet for answers to my cold sore problem? Now I'm stuck down a rabbit hole filled with images of alarmingly graphic sores in various stages of ooze. I can clear my search history, but I can never unsee that.
Don't go down the rabbit hole. Amazon Health AI gets you the right care fast. Healthcare just got less painful.
And we're back. All right, Jim, Disney Family Suites.
Yeah, though I apologize. We're going to take kind of a roundabout route to getting to,
a roundabout approach on the Disney dish?
I'm shocked. I'm completely
well, it's the first time
shocked.
for everything, I guess. All right,
there
go
we
ahead.
go. But, the other thing worth noting is that this show is posting on August 10th, and in just a couple of days, the D23 Expo is going to begin at the Anaheim Convention Center, and we will have all sorts of news to share. We're out at the event, and we'll be there with our pal, veteran Imagineer Jim Schul, who, by the way, he loves to tell the story of the construction of New Fantasyland at the Magic Kingdom, which, if you talk with theme park fans, they'll tell you, okay, well, all right, that's when they doubled that size of the park, that they went from 10 acres to 22 acres, and they did it in two phases. There was the part that opened in December of 2012, and this is the Be Our Guest restaurant, the Double Dumbo, and the Little Mermaid ride, and then there was the chunk that opened in May of 2014, and then that was largely Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, right? And again, just asking you to put on your touring plans hat here, that is now one of the most popular attractions in the Magic Kingdom, yes?
Oh, yeah. It's not the most popular roller coaster. That's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, but it's obviously it changed the way that people approach Fantasyland. It's forever altered the traffic pattern in the park.
There we go. Now, Mr. Schul, when he hears people say that it was done in two phases, Jim is quick to correct. He said, look, if we're being completely honest when it comes to the New Fantasyland project, there were 17
projects. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's it exactly. All of those which had to be completed before the land was considered done. And if we're being completely honest here, the work started back in April of 2010. This is when Disney brought a crane into the Magic Kingdom after the park had closed for the night, rolled it into Fantasyland right up to that space between Pooh's Playful Spot. Do you remember that kid play area?
across the street from Winnie the Pooh.
Across the street from Many Adventures. In fact, what they did is they used this crane to hoist a 120-ton faux tree out of Pooh's Playful Spot and then drop it, place it carefully, by Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. It then effectively became, sort of the marquee for that attraction. And let's also remember that Pooh's Playful Spot, once upon a time, was where the subs used to sail around for the 20,000 Leagues.
20,000 Leagues, right? Yeah. So Seven Dwarfs Mine Train sits on the lagoon for 20,000 Leagues, right?
Yeah.
Part of it,
but what's interesting, and remember, we're now talking spring of 2010, and during this part of the New Fantasyland project, where Seven Dwarfs sits today is where we were going to get two super deluxe meet and greets done in the style of Enchanted Tales with Belle. They were going to get the Tremaine Chateau, and the idea here was we were going to arrive at the house just as Cinderella's fairy godmother was using her magic to create that beautiful ball gown. And on the other hand, if we went to the other side of the Enchanted Forest, we'd encounter the woodcutter's cottage from Sleeping Beauty, and if we went in there, we'd meet with the three good fairies who were planning a birthday surprise for Briar Rose. And again, this was the plan as of spring of 2010. And that New Fantasyland was going to have 3 of the super deluxe meet and greets. But 9 months later, and again, this is January of 2011, we learned that the plans for New Fantasyland have been altered, and in place of the Tremaine Chateau and the Woodcutter's Cottage, we get, as Len described, this popular roller coaster, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And again, I bring this up ahead of the D23 Expo because anybody who's actually been to these events, which are Disney holds them 2 years apart, and what's always fascinating is, hey, the plan we told you about last time, forget about that.
What plan?
What plan?
Yeah.
And look, this happens. Plans change. Sometimes it's creative reasons, sometimes it's budgetary considerations, sometimes it's for reasons that are entirely beyond the control of the Walt Disney Company. And case in point, the Asia Resort. Anybody who looked at the original concept art for Walt Disney World remembers this 500-room hotel sitting at the western shore of Seven Seas Lagoon. It's done in the Thai style, and look. Board of Directors had signed off on the project. Construction budget had been approved. Site prep, Len, was completed as of the fall of 73. In fact, actual physical construction of the Asian Hotel was supposed to begin in January of 1974 with the idea that guests would be able to occupy Disney's next themed resort starting in the spring of 75.
All right, so at that point, they had everybody lined up because you're talking about like 90 days from the start of construction.
In fact, it's so funny you say that because the Buena Vista Construction Company actually talked with a guy about this, and he was like, we were literally recruiting people. We're going to start staffing up in November and December, and we kick off full construction beginning of the year. So put the word out. And the other thing is Disney was making sure they had construction workers because at the time, SeaWorld is under construction, Circus World is under construction. It's like, hey, we need to make sure we have bodies. But then October of 1973, the Yom Kippur War begins. This is when Egypt and Syria attack Israel. Nixon sends military aid to Israel, which enrages the powers that be in the Middle East. And this is what leads to the Arab oil embargo, which, by the way, given what we've all been dealing with at the pumps lately, I just want to put this out here. January of 1974, Len, the price of a barrel of crude oil had gone from, and this is crazy, $2.90 to $11
for a barrel of oil.
For a barrel of oil. All right.
Crazy prices. Okay.
But here's the thing. It had jumped to $11.65. So it had effectively quadrupled what the price of fuel was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. So now you've got gas rationing, you've got long lines at the pumps, and all of those folks who lived in states that surrounded Florida, who'd previously driven down to Walt Disney World, for a vacation, they're staying home.
Was this around the time that the United States dropped the speed limit to 55 miles an hour too to save gas?
I believe you are correct.
It was in the 70s, right?
Yeah, it was.
So not only is gas more expensive, but now it takes longer to get to Florida.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
All right. So anyway, attendance falls through the floor at the Magic Kingdom. Contemporary and the Poly suddenly have dozens of vacant rooms. So it's like, so why right now, not a great time to be building a third themed hotel on the monorail loop. So what happens initially is construction on the Asian resort gets paused. The winter of 74, we're going to pause it for 6 months, which then becomes a full year. Now, mind you, Henry Kissinger, Nixon's Secretary of State, he travels to the Middle East. He brokers a disengagement agreement between Israel and Egypt, which Syria agrees to honor. And by March of 74, the Arab oil embargo is over. But Disney's board of directors are just spooked. They're like, we want to hold off on the Asia resort for a while, just to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Though, Len, you'll find this fascinating. The money that had been allocated for the construction of the Asian resort get shifted over to the Lake Buena Vista Shopping Village, which then opens March of 75. And the thinking here is, well, look, visitors to Central Florida may not always be able to afford a stay at a monorail resort, but they will always shop for souvenirs before they go home. So let's give them some additional opportunities to do that. But Len, back when I was in the military, whenever something like this happened, when something completely unforeseen then disrupted a plan that had been years in the making, the brass would then refer to this unfortunate occurrence as being overtaken by events.
What is the other military saying? No plan survives first contact?
There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And not to put too fine a point, but it was not all that long ago, but that the Disney company once again found itself being overtaken by events. I remember August of 2019, another D23 Expo. This is when the then head of Disney Parks products and experiences, one Bob Chapek, he stood on stage and was talking about how the Future World section of Epcot was about to be radically reimagined. And, this is when we first learned about those three neighborhoods, World Celebration, World Nature, World Discovery, and more importantly, how the space between Future World and World Showcase was going to become home to the Festival Center, that island in the sky, that lush green 3-story tall structure that would have been the perfect viewing spot for Epcot's long in development new nighttime show, out on World Showcase Lagoon. And again, it wasn't being said not out loud anyway at this point, but look, Epcot was being reimagined, the front half of it anyway, because Disney World Second Gate was going to be ground zero for the resort's 50th anniversary celebration.
2022.
There we go.
2021. Sorry, 2021, 2022. Yeah.
By the way, had already been in the works for 5 years at that point, was officially going to get underway in October of 2021 and then run through at least January of 2023. So 16 months. So, but again, this is August of 2019 when we learned about this. November, just 3 months later, this is when word starts to come out of Wuhan about a rather strong strain of pneumonia. Right. By December of that same year, 2019, the World Health Organization is like, hey, look, this virus, very transmittable, very likely it'll travel outside of the region, which it did. And by March of the following year, 2020, full-blown pandemic, the world shuts down. And look, I really don't mean to make light of this because it's important to remember we lost, depending on how you count these things, 1.8 million to 3 million people worldwide, and a tenth of those deaths, 350,000 to 385,000, again, depending on who you talk to, happened here in the States. Yeah. But from the Disney corporate side of things, their carefully crafted plans for the 50th anniversary just go straight into the wood chipper. Yeah. We lose the Festival Center. We lose, and the budget for World Celebration, World Nature, World Discovery seriously cut.
Yeah, the other thing going on here, this is also the time Disney's trying to launch Disney Plus, which takes a tremendous amount of money.
It does. And and that is the priority. So the Epcot takes the hit, and that park has yet to really recover from what happened in 2020. And by the way, not the only time that Disney World was affected by world events. And when we get back from this break, we're going to talk about Pop Century. But first, this.
Priceline Negotiator.
It's me, the
Priceline Negotiator.
We don't need the jingle twice.
What about a third time?
Stop it. This is about vacation inflation and how Priceline negotiates amazing deals on hotels, flights, and rental cars.
Seems like you decided.
Yeah, but I didn't mention that you can save up to 60% off hotels in the Priceline app.
Time to read the tagline.
Fine. No one deals more deals than
Priceline.
Please stop.
Priceline.
Touche.
Priceline.
Priceline.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
Why did I search the internet for answers to my cold sore problem? Now I'm stuck down a rabbit hole filled with images of alarmingly graphic sores in various stages of ooze. I can clear my search history, but I can never unsee that.
Don't go down the rabbit hole. Amazon Health AI gets you the right care fast. Healthcare just got less painful.
And we're back. All right. Got to tell you, folks, the reason I wound up writing this feature for this week's Disney Dish was because I noticed that August 10th is actually the 14th anniversary of the opening of the Lion King section at Disney's Animal Kingdom Resort.
I was just walking through that a couple weeks ago.
Were you? Okay. Yeah. All right. So, and by the way, there are 320 family suites in that part of the hotel. And by the way, I don't know if you saw this bit of news, Len, but I guess starting in 2027, they're looking to do a refresh at that hotel. I guess they're starting with the Little Mermaid section that had 864 standard rooms, then moving over to the Cars section of the resort. That's 480 family suites. And then come 2028, rooms in the Lion King section, not to mention the Finding Nemo section of the hotel. And again, that's 328 family suites there. Wow. So by 2029, all 1,928 rooms at Disney's Art of Animation will be upgraded and refreshed. And but that's not really all that unusual, is it, Len? I mean,
no, it's like, if it's been 14 years since Lion King opened, that's about the time for a hard goods refresh. Soft goods happen like every 5-7 years. Something like that.
What's kind of interesting is if we pivot for a sec to the All-Star movies, starting in May of this year and actually running through January of next year, they're doing a similar effort right now. In fact, I kind of feel sorry for them because right now, I guess it's the Toy Story and Fantasia sections at that hotel that are out of the inventory, so to speak, and it's like, no, that's what it's saying. Len is making that noise because Toy Story 5 is just past $1 billion.
$1 billion, yeah.
Yeah, and so obviously there's a lot of little kids that would love to have the family stay in the Toy Story wing at the All-Star. And it's
speaking of marketing, gosh, you got to be better coordination. You would think that would be something that Disney would have picked up, though, that they would have said, let's do this either before or after the peak release date of this movie so that we could market the hotel.
It just seems like a gimme, and I don't know how they missed that. But anyway, so this is the sort of thing that Disney does. Now, what makes it especially challenging to do this with the rooms at the Disney's Art of Animation is, well, for almost a decade, late 2001 through early 2011, these rooms were left open to the elements as
they were a concrete shell.
Construction was paused in the second half of Disney's Pop Century Resort in the wake of 9/11. And I just want to remind folks that this project first gets announced December of 99. And what fascinates me about the timing of this, Len, is that All-Star Movie, the final phase of All-Star Movie, opened April 15th of that year, 1999. And the two earlier installments of All-Star Music, All-Star Sports, were completed in 94. And Disney effectively pivoted to, we need to finish Animal Kingdom. So they concentrated all their construction efforts there. Once Animal Kingdom was finished, it's like, okay, we have the people, we can finish All-Star. Go over there. And so with All-Star Movie, that adds an additional 1,920 rooms to the resort. So all total, if you take all three of the All-Stars, you have 5,760 rooms, which, and again, in the value price category. Which,
it's a lot of rooms, yeah.
But this is what fascinates me, Len. That supposedly wasn't enough. The story, as it was explained to me, is that Disney, by this point, the hotel has existed, the All-Star, for 5 years, and it's the resort for Pop Warner groups and cheerleading groups that are competing at the Wide World of Sports.
Okay, but the All-Stars are closer to Animal Kingdom. They're directly south of like Coronado Springs and and Blizzard Beach. Yeah. Okay.
But you pretty much nailed it, because what would happen is that these groups would be staying at the All-Star. They'd all go out to the bus to be bussed over to the 220-acre sports facility. Mm-hmm. And again,
Wide World of Sports. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. And it's on paper, it's a 15-minute drive. What wound up happening over and over and over again is these buses would get caught in traffic, and they'd end up arriving late.
Oh, and when you're doing these big competitions, though, everything is scheduled down to the minute. You've got set practice time from 10 to 10:30.
There you go.
Not when you show up for 30 minutes. So that's okay. I can see that.
No. So and this was the note that Disney got over and over again, to the effect of, look, we love the price point of the Value Resort, but we're competing at the Wide World of Sports. We would love it if there were a Value Resort closer to that. So this is what Disney decides to do. They're going to build, and what's weird, it's the exact same number of rooms as over at the All-Star.
It works. The same building shapes, same everything, right?
All right. So, and again, this is the Pop Century. Construction begins on it after announcing it in December of 99, begins in 2000, and this is the classic years, the 1950 through 1990 side of the hotel. Mm-hmm. And with the idea that would open in early 2002, in the second half of the Pop Century, the legendary years on the other side of Hourglass Lake. That would open sometime in 2003. But then 9/11 happens.
So what I'm hearing is there a correlation between Disney opening up hotels and significant world events. I'm going to be in a bubble. I'm going to be in my basement when Lakeshore Lodge opens.
I was about to say. I'll join you in the basement there. But,
okay. All right.
But anyway, back to 9/11. People are suddenly afraid to climb on planes and fly down to Disney World, and occupancy rate across property. Again,
they started shuttering things. Remember they closed French Quarter. They closed large. Half of Kirby Beach.
There were some interesting things Disney did during this period. Because, again, they had trouble filling the hotel rooms they already had down in Florida. Never mind about this additional 5,760 that are under construction. So by the fall of 2001, and they're finishing the 2,880 rooms on the classic side. They're loading in beds, lamps, desks, bedside tables. And again, because guests are supposed to be occupying this in early 2002. And as you mentioned, other side of Hourglass Lake, they have built the shells.
It's great concrete shells,
Yeah. Anyway, a word goes out to the construction crew on Pop Century, go home. We're honestly not sure when the classic year side will open, let alone what we're going to do in the legendary side. So, Len, the entire project goes into mothballs.
Oh, okay. So 9/11 was September of 2001. This thing was supposed to open early 2002.
Yeah.
So within a few months. Okay. And when did it open?
December of 2003. So it's actually 2 years and 2 months after 9/11.
Okay, but and almost 2 years after it was supposed to open.
Oh, yeah. And it just, I got to say, it was always eerie staying at Disney's Pop Century in the 2000s, because you'd look out across Hourglass Lake at these monochromatic buildings, on the other side. And in fact, the only time you ever saw guests on that side of the hotel, and this is the irony, Len, it was when Wide World of Sports was running an especially big event, and so
parking, because remember they would run the buses to and from the parking lot, and that would be the closest you could get.
There you go
to those buildings. Yeah, do you remember there was a one of the very first Urban Explorer videos I remember seeing on the internet was somebody walking around the concrete shells.
Yes,
and then right after that, Disney posted a full-time security guard.
They did. They did.
At night. Yeah, yeah.
So how does Disney eventually solve its Pop Century problem? Well, as we'll discuss in the next installment of the series, this involves SpongeBob SquarePants.
I knew it was coming. I knew it.
There we go. The Skyway and a new concept in hotels, family suites. But again, we'll get to that in the next installment of the series.
I remember the SpongeBob. I know what you're talking about there. I'm looking forward to you talking about this. This was a hoot.
Yeah, it was.
And it really concerned Disney executives.
Oh, no, absolutely. The fact that it was, in fact, so close to Disney property and so enthusiastically embraced, it's like, okay, this is one we need to pay attention to.
Exactly. All right. I can't wait for next week's show then. That's great.
Okay, cool.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for our show today. You can help support our show by subscribing over at patreon.com/JimHillMedia, where our latest exclusive show is a look at It's a Small World around the world. And there's a link in the show notes. Also, this week, we're going to have an exclusive show predicting what we're going to hear at D23 later on this week. Occasional show guest and former Disney Imagineer Jim Scholl hosts his own YouTube channel. The name is Disney Journey with Jim Scholl. And in recent videos, Jim shares stories about the new Coco ride and a possible new Matterhorn. Click on the link in the show notes to watch Disney Journey with Jim Scholl. On next week's show, we're going to continue this history of Disney's family suites. You can find more of Jim at jimhillmedia.com and more of me, Len, at touringplans.com. Also, check out The Case 4 with Chris Cox, a podcast where Chris, Jim, and I debate one theme park topic at a time, and you get to vote on who's right. We're produced spectacularly by Eric Hersey and David Gray, honorary Grand Marshals for the 60th Annual Potato Bowl, featuring the University of North Dakota Fighting Hawks versus the St. Thomas Tommies, kicking off at 3 p.m. on Sunday, September 5th, 2026, at the Alera Center in beautiful downtown Grand Forks, North Dakota. While Eric and David are doing that, please go into iTunes and rate our show and tell us what you'd like to hear next. For Jim, this is Len. We will see you on the next show.